happens all too often. People sitting at their computer watch helplessly as the whole thing melts down before their eyes and all their data is lost, a victim of a virus or other kind of malfunction. But are their crucial files gone forever? There are ways you can recover some or all of what you've lost. Joining me now to talk about that is President of Canada's biggest data recovery forum, CBL, Data Recovery Technologies, Bill Margison. Bill, welcome for joining us today.
Thank you.
Bill, I guess first of all, if you've worked on a computer long enough, you've had the blue death screen come up and tell you you're doomed.
But blue screen of one form or another. There's lots of them. Best laid plans of mice and men. Computers fail. It's going to happen, and that's where a company like ours comes to play.
Right.
We're there to bail people out when the experts fail, when the hardware or the technology fails you. We're like the last resort guys.
Now, as we hear about viruses and things like that, and where a system crashes, and all of a sudden the data's gone, where does it go?
The data is still on the drive, and that's how we can earn our living. We recover data that's been made unavailable for one reason or another. A virus, for example, will typically not hurt your data, but it will obscure the path, the logical software path to the data. It'll point you somewhere else, and you can't get it. So for us, because we're not operating system dependent, we take science to the table to deal with these problems. We go around that little virus and we'll harvest the data off at the hexadecimal level and do a whole bunch of good things that end up making the catastrophe just an inconvenience.
Now, you've brought along part of a computer here. I know what it is, but a lot of people may not. So tell us what we're going to be looking at here on the table.
Well, I thought people might want to see what's inside. This is actually the memory, the brain of the computer. And those would be the disks. That's called a hard disk drive.
Right there. So when we say a hard disk drive, I mean it really is a disk.
That's correct. And there's some read-write heads that are going to read a small, faint magnetic signal that's been written to these platters. The platters are sometimes made of glass nowadays and are coated with what's called an Armstrong coating, very special material that will hold the magnetic signal for a long period of time. And this is working day and night. They're spinning all times.
Happily, merrily along.
Until once in a while.
Kaboom.
Inside in the disk drive, tolerances are measured in microns. And when something goes awry, it can deteriorate pretty rapidly. But usually the data is still on the device. And it takes a lab like ours to find a way to get around the problem.
Who are the typical kind of customers that come to you?
Most of our clientele are Fortune 500 firms. Data has been lost in engineering environments, places where that aren't backed up on their networks, that kind of thing, right from the shop floor, so to speak. Another good sector is actually in the media. There's an awful lot of creative work done, and they're artists, they're not technicians, and oftentimes it's lost, as well as mom and pop. Last year's tax returns. People are depending on computers more and more, and we're tending to keep more important information on them.
If anyone's used a computer, everyone who has used one has heard the warning again and again and again, back up your documentation, make copies. How crucial is that? I mean, if you've made copies, how much easier does it make your job?
Well, we're there when the copy...
Does one lead to another? I mean, if you've got most of your files, and I can then hand you some diskettes, does that help you get the rest of the files?
It does in many instances. We've learned some data is better than no data. We really recommend that people back their data. You would be amazed. About 80% of what we did last year, our clientele said, well, we didn't do the backup. Of course, that's why they were at our lab. Yeah. But you would think very top-notch firms would be doing this kind of thing. But there's a number of reasons why it doesn't happen. Equipment fails them. They had been working with a bad configuration. They've been backing up the same directory for 5 years, but there's nothing in that directory. So everything's been working, but it was inappropriately set up. So data loss occurs, and there's no backup for a number of reasons. We recommend doing what we call a fire drill. Regularly, do a spot check. Asked to see last July's accounting backup restored, and see if it will restore, and you'd be amazed at what you'd find.
What about storing information either on a
zip drive or a smaller diskette? I mean, is it just good standard practice to have? I mean, we think nothing of using a computer, but still think nothing of having a file drawer filled with important papers. Is it important to have our own little separate file box, if you will, of diskettes or zip drives?
Very much so. It's very delicate technology, working all day. You won't believe the number of compensating error correction codes built into the device. It is very, very suspect. It can fail at any moment. So if it's important, you must back up. That's part of computer operation. Backing up your data is the last thing that you would do. People forget that. It's really important today to back up more and more. We have vast quantities of vast space on our drives now, and people don't know what to do with all that. We're putting our lives on the magnetic media. So an ounce of prevention's worth a pound of cure. It's prudent to back up.
Bill, if people want to get in touch with you, and I'm sure there may be a number who right now are pulling their hair out as they're listening to us talk about one problem or another, what's the best way of getting in touch, either on the internet or phone?
Yes, we're on the net at www.cbltech.com, and you can get us anywhere actually in the world using our international toll-free number 800-551-3917.
Okay, and again, the internet address www.cbltech.com. Bill, great to see you again. Thanks so very much. I appreciate all the insight you provided.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Let's see what's happening on the roads this hour. We'll start with a live look through our Bell Canada Eyes of Toronto to the Don Valley Park.